I've wanted this knife since I first started doing work with cutlerymore.com about 1.5 years ago. It was one of the first that I saw that I just thought, I need this knife. And here we are about 1.5 years later, and I finally got it. And we're gonna do a prep session with it. A first use prep sesh. What do we have? This is the Enso Aogami Super hand forged 9.5 inch Kiritsuke. This has an Aogami Super carbon steel core coming in at a 65 Rockwell, stainless steel cladding with a dark kurouchi, almost a Nasiji-like texture to the kurouchi finish. We have a teak wood octagonal handle with a buffalo horn ferrule. And gosh, I'm giddy. Okay, so real quick, if you want to see more, description below, close-up videos and photos. This is the bunka. I've had this for over 1 year now. Actually, I think this came in the first shipment of knives I ever got from Cutlery & More, so it's been about 1.5 years. And you can see that this is held up pretty well in the sense of the Kazumi finish not being all scratched to hell like some of them get. And I've got a decent patina developed on the edge. This is not a knife that I use every day or sometimes even every week. Obviously, I have a lot to choose from here, so I have used this enough to get a patina on it. I look forward to getting even more. Actually, you can see that on the bottom part there where I use a bit more of the blade. This came to me, not sure why. These knives are not cheap, I'm not gonna lie. And so I got the entire line of the Enso Aogami Super Hand Forge series, but I only get to keep one, and that's the one I'm keeping. Okay, so I'm doing a little bit of food prep for the next couple of days, traveling in a little bit, so I don't feel like cooking while packing and all that stuff. Doing some type of grilled chicken thigh salad, going a little sweet and savory here, and making a Greek yogurt ranch. Let's just dive right in, getting started with my apples. And the reason, from a prep perspective, I'm starting with the apple is I don't want my apples tasting like anything else that I'm prepping here, except maybe the grapes. They're gonna get mixed together. Granted, this is all gonna be on a salad, but if you're picking at your apple and have a little snack, you don't wanna taste onion or carrot with your apple when you're just snacking on it. Okay, first use, here we go. I'm going to be doing a smooth, a fine Julienne with these apples. Wow. That just feels fantastic. Okay, so we're gonna cut these into, oh my. Feels really good. The length of this, the leverage that you get with that 9.5 inch blade is very, very different than the bunka. I think that that's evident just in the sense of a bigger knife is going to feel different. 65 Rockwell, and with this fine of a blade means that you do not want to be rock chopping or pivoting with this whatsoever. Using this larch board here, which is a moderate Janka rating, it really depends on how it's made, but from what I've looked at, this is as close to Hinoki, which is a very soft board, as you can pretty much get without being a super soft board. I've read anywhere from like the 600 to 1100 on the Janka rating scale for larch wood. So later, when I prep the chicken thighs, I'm going to be coming on an angle because all I'm gonna do is remove the excess fat from these just to see how delicate and this is going to feel. but no rock chopping, no pivoting with this blade. It's super fine, and if you do, you'll hear these little fractures, and you don't want that. Here we go. Gosh, the length of this for something like this, it's a little bit messy because I don't have them all lined up perfectly. It's a bit unstable, which you can only cut unstable product safely when you have a super sharp blade. Oh, yes. That feels good. It feels real good. I would love this. Geez, half of them missed the bowl. Not half. Come on, don't be so dramatic, Brandon. I want to be able to say that I'm going to use this as my everyday driver, but that's just not going to be the case because of the size and because the super high Rockwell steel. Once you get above that 63, you got to be pretty careful and very, very mindful. So for my everyday driver to just be able to prep quickly, not this. But when I am looking forward to just zoning into prep and not just do a quick prep, like a good 30+ minute prep sesh, man, all this is lemon juice and olive oil. And the reason I'm adding it to my apple is so that it doesn't oxidize. And I mean, I'm going to have some type of oil-based dressing or Greek yogurt-based dressing. I'm gonna go for round 2 here, and I'm just gonna let you enjoy it. I'm not gonna talk. So earlier I said I was going to do a fine julienne apple. This is not a fine julienne. After I said it and I started getting into the prep, usually what I do is I take all the slices and then I stack them about 4 high and then go down all of them. And I just would have added quite a bit of extra time to the prep sesh here. And also being able to slice through, again, a messy stack of apple slices like that is honestly pretty unsafe. It did the trick. And the ability to have that longer, super fine blade, I'm trying to like mix this together without getting my hand all oily, and I just did. So I think what I might have to do is just go for it. The oil and the acid from the lemon juice is what's going to minimize the oxidation, so I'm not going to have a bunch of tiny brown apples. I'm going to keep talking as I go and wash my hand. So basically, as I am going through that poorly stacked chunk of apple slices all lined up there. What I'm doing is, if some of you may have noticed that kind of U-shaped cut that I did about halfway through, and just doing a push chop is basically allowing me to get through the product without them flying everywhere. And there was a couple that skedaddled here and there, but the idea here that you can utilize this long blade and put it to use in this fine edge. And let's take a look at this already in the sense of starting to get a little bit of a patina that fast on the edge, just from not drying it immediately, which I'm fine with. You want a patina to develop on the core so that it protects it. But you want to have a towel on standby. You need a towel on hand, on standby when you're working with any type of carbon steel blade like this. Okay, next we're going to do some grape prep. And for this, I just want little tiny, oh my God. Maybe a little slice type of feel, very different. Let's try it. Gosh, this thing is wicked sharp. Like, if there was ever a knife you wanted to cut yourself with, it would be this one, because it's so sharp. You probably wouldn't even know about it right away. Couple to flatten out, and then you can keep going. I mean, I am hardly putting any effort into. Whew. Unbelievable. Now, out of the box, the only thing that I did to this knife was wash it and then do the product video for the website, which you'll be able to see in the description below, the website link. I'm not sure off the top of my head what the cost is of this, but I do believe it is in the $4s. I mean, my grip on this is just to be able to stabilize it into my palm. I hardly am holding the knife at all because I don't want to put a lot of force into this cutting board. This is a double bevel Kiritsuke. Some would just call it a K-tip Gyuto. I don't care what you want to call it. A Kiritsuke is traditionally a single bevel knife, but things change. Anyway, so regardless of what you want to call it, this thing is so fine and so sharp, and the food release in the mid blade here with this Kazumi finish, which is a hazy finish, I am surprised by. It is really nice. I'm not feeling any drag at all with this blade, especially with the apple, which is where I would feel it, not so much with these grapes because they're so short off the board. I mean, jeez. I'm very happy right now. I've got a lot of knives. At this point after this last shipment, it's somewhere plus minus 5 around that 400 mark. And I got to tell you, this, oh great, I washed my line, but I forgot to take off the sticker. This feels really, really good. All I'm going to do with the lime is use it to maybe put in a drink later. So I'm intentionally now trying to overly exaggerate my slice just because I'm curious what this is going to feel like. And it feels good. Anyway, out of the box, I washed this. I didn't strop it. Nothing. That acid should if I were to let that sit on here just evenly throughout there while I'm getting my next bit of product ready, that actually might help with some of the patina. Okay, I've got some kosher dill pickles and I'm going to do a brunoise, but I can't cross chop, I can't rock chop, so this is all going to be push and tap, and I'm going to do this similar to the apples. So we're just going to come in and get a fine slice. Gosh, I mean, this thing is dangerous. Go into our Julienne. Got some wonky pieces here. And that will get, let me save this for a little snack. I love, These are Nathan's kosher dill. Big fan. God, the length of this. I had 10-inch Zwilling Pro, well, I still have them. 10-inch Zwilling Pro Wüsthof. They were my go-to blades. These are just for little Scooby snacks. They were my go-to blades through most of culinary school because, I mean, Japanese knives were not as popular as they are now. I also didn't have a huge budget back then. Not that I have a huge one now, but fortunately I don't pay for all these knives. And that 10-inch blade, that long blade, is just something that I absolutely loved. It was the global Sai that I got. They called it a vegetable cleaver back in the day. Now it's basically, it's an Akiri. I don't know what they call it anymore. It's funny how the names have changed so much with a lot of these knives in the sense of their marketing, because people are starting to catch on and understand what they actually mean. Okay, so this is going to go into my Greek yogurt for a little healthier ranch. Ooh, we got a couple on the side there. The length compared to the bunka is absolutely magical. If you're used to working with a longer blade, like I was getting at with my Wüsthof and my Zwilling 10-inch that I had, go for the longer blade. If you like a smaller knife for prep, that's totally fine. But I gotta tell you, the leverage and just the ease of use, the lack of effort that you need to use when maneuvering this blade is unbelievable. I feel like I'm a little scatterbrained right now because I'm so excited about this knife. Okay, I've got, actually, yeah, I'll do that. I've got some carrots just peeled, and I'm just gonna do a little bit of a bias on these, real thin. So normally I would go a bit faster, but I'm a little unstable here. So let's do this. That's a little Scooby snack. Now I have a flat area to work with, which I should have done in the beginning. I just don't want to be pounding this into the cutting board. So let's slow it down a little. I'm also a little timid with this blade because of how unbelievably fine it is and because of how firm this carrot is. So what I'm also feeling for here, now that this is getting bigger, is any type of wedging or stickiness. And this is 1.25 inches or so off the board. So it's relatively high up. So what I would say is this, for something like this, I think I'm being just overly cautious with this blade right now because I don't want to damage the blade on this cutting board. And I'm sure it'll hold up and it'll be fine, but you know, the last thing I want to do is give you that pleasure of hearing the cracking sound and coming at me in the comments. So this, I wasn't planning on doing a Julienne with these, but man, I just can't help myself right now. This blade, oh, it's so good. Definitely a little more cautious with the carrots. I think that's what it is. I'm just being a little bit timid that I don't end up coming in on a weird angle, damaging the blade or my fingers. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little afraid of this blade. It's wicked. I'm kind of like going back and forth between a little bit of a tap. It's like a very shallow angled chop. Okay, that feels a little bit better because I don't have as many as high and unstable. There are certain cuts this is going to take some getting used to. And I think with that very thick, dense product, I don't know, go slow until you're very used to the knife or use another knife. This is very thin. It goes in. There's not that sticking wedging effect that some knives get that are this thin, in the sense that there's like this, they're almost too thin and they end up, I was talking about this in the Takamura video, which is downstairs, where you get a knife with such fine geometry and it's so thin at the spine that it kind of comes in, it opens up the product, comes in, and then it like closes at the top. And before you get all the way through, it like creates this suction type of experience inside the product that's a little bit higher up. It happens a lot with wetter, denser ingredients, like maybe some carrots, an apple, sweet potato, things like that, squash. I didn't get that effect at the thicker end of that carrot at all, but it's dense and I just didn't quite have the confidence to blast through it. Also, I don't think at 65 Rockwell, you should be doing a really fast, hard tap chop with this blade. I've done it with the bunka at the base of the blade, but with onion, not with carrot like that. So, learning curve. You get a new knife and it's a bit different, take your time. Okay, I'm gonna get some onion going. Actually, I'm gonna do my lettuce first. This isn't washed, so. This is where this long blade, let's see if I can do all three at once without going crazy. This is where, that's a little bit extra. I know I can do two. probably don't need to do this, but I'm going slow, but I'm getting 2 done instead of 1. Okay, now the leaves are all kind of, there we go. Let's get y'all almost a chiffonade type of roll here. So I've noticed that when I'm coming more straight down, I'm using more force, whereas when I'm doing that push and I'm using the length of the blade, more of it at least, that, gosh, it just glides through. It is incredible. Okay, so Enso, if you're not curious, Enso is our in-house line. This is made in, hold on, I want to get it right. Tsubame, Japan. Our other Enso products are made in Seki. So I don't know exactly, Niigata, I think it said. That's where this is coming from. And so this is coming from a knife maker that's basically white labeling it for us as our in-house brand, which is only available here in the United States. Enso is 10 years old, and actually the week that I am making this video, depending on when you see it, is our 10-year Enso anniversary. And if you see this before August 24th, Enso, ENSO 30, ENSO 30 gets you 30% off any Enso blade. And that's exciting. Okay. We're going into the salad spinner to get washed. Please wash your greens, folks. Wash everything. Everything that touches your cutting board needs to get washed. Everything that goes in your mouth, fruit and produce wise, wash it. It's important. Okay, I've got onion, and then I'm going to do some chicken, and we will wrap up. Oh, just onions with blade finishes like this with other knives, more often than not, will just grip. There's this drag that happens, and I have made it a point to try and figure out the best way to work with some of these blades. It's more of the deep etched Damascus type knives that have that real firm finish, or matte finish rather. Firm, I don't know what I'm thinking. Firm product, matte finish, you get this drag. It is unpleasant. You got to go slow with those ingredients. It's not like the carrot type of drag. It is a slow down, resistance, friction type of drag. And I'm working on doing a video on how to work with those knives. This, it's not doing it, which I'm pleasantly pleased about. Normally, I would do a fast tap chop, but again, high Rockwell knife. I'm being a little bit more gentle. It just, man, it just glides through. I'm a huge fan of pickled onions and caramelized onions. I do not do raw onion anymore unless it's green onion. That is an interesting fact about myself that will allow you to sleep better tonight, just so you know. Okay, I'm gonna save this other onion for the sake of time, just like the carrots. Now, let's pull out this chicken thigh, do a little prep. This is the new, to me, Hasegawa grippy no slip mat, which probably won't work on a wet surface. I probably don't even really need it. Yeah, I'm just gonna put that back here. This is the Hasegawa Pro Soft board. Specifically, I would say it's intended for slicing and very fine, shallow, light chops. This is a very grippy board. When you come in on an angle, it grabs your edge. A wider geometry blade, not as much, but it is grippy. So this is not your everyday prep type of cutting board, but it's grippy in the sense of holding wet, sticky, slimy products like fish or chicken, beef, pretty much any protein. So it holds on to the product. It's safer to work with, and it's just a good soft board. So when you're coming in on an angle, it's going to be better for the blade. So all I'm doing here is, yes. I don't need to trim this off because most of it's going to render when I throw it on a 600 degree ambient temp grill. But I just wanted to see how this would flow on, and then I'm going to cut these into, this knife may have ruined some things for me. Oh my gosh. Listen, I don't care if you don't want to buy any of our Enso products. They're our in-house brand. We've had them for a decade. They're made in Japan. Some people give us a hard time. Oh, you're shilling your own in-house brand. We're a retailer. We sell hundreds of brands. I don't care if you want a Miyabi. I don't care if you want a Kramer. I don't care if you want a Hatsuka Koro Kirogane for $100. Get whatever makes you happy. We love your business. And if you want to try an Enso, try an Enso. For the regular Enso lines, I'd put them right there with Miyabi, Shun. I mean, depending on the line, well, it's in that category. It's in that price point as well. This is up there in the world of Yoshikane. Yeah, definitely in the world of Yoshikane. And if you don't want an Enso, then just get a Yoshikane. You'll be really happy with the Yoshikane. That's my everyday driver. But I gotta tell you, for those who are like, oh, you're just getting excited because you're promoting your Enso, I don't care if you don't buy this. Get whatever makes you happy. I'm just gonna tell you that this blade, it's making me happy. And I am going to be using this. I might make it a point to use this for everyday prep for the next, well, when I get back. I don't need to cook again until I get back over the weekend. Going to Chattanooga. I live in Tennessee, if you're curious. Not gonna say where, but I live in Tennessee. So we're going to Chattanooga. Got to get the car serviced, and my wife's birthday, so we're gonna go out with the baby and enjoy ourselves. I mean, some of you watching are seeing the angles I'm coming in at. That's why I got this board out, because it is much softer and it's not going to dig into, the blade is not going to dig into the wood and get stuck. This soft, whatever it's made out of type of plastic, is great for high Rockwell Japanese knives, especially if you're doing anything where you're coming in on an angle like that. Oh God. I've got a few more here. I'm just gonna ride this out. Anyway, buy the knives that make you happy. We love your support with the Enso line, but you're not hurting our feelings if you decide to go and get something else. We just want you to be happy with your knife purchase. And there's only been a couple people have come at us in the comments, but sometimes I just need to run my mouth for a little bit and then I feel better. Okay. Yes. I would love to see this in action with some sashimi. I almost said sashimi. Some sashimi. Wow, now I'm getting them all mixed up. Raw fish. Oop, there's a little bone there. Oops. Oh man, I got chicken on my board. Okay, one more. So, what do we have here? Quick recap, because there's going to be a quiz after this. This is the Enso Aogami Super hand-forged Kiritsuke. 9.5 inches with a kurouchi finish, a Kasumi mid-blade, 65 Rockwell, teak wood, buffalo horn, octagonal handle. Made in Tsubame, Japan. I'm Chef Brandon with Cutlery More. Thanks so much for tuning in. Oh, wait, hold on. Get my autofocus. Where are you at? Come on, autofocus. There we go. You can see the patina starting to pop on this. There we go. Especially right here. It's already getting going. Love it. I'm Chef Brandon with CutleryMore.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. This knife will be linked below. Check it out. I'm going to go wash it, clean up, and then just kind of stare at this for a while. Later. What am I going to name you? No, that's weird. I can't do that.